Support WrestleTalk!
Over the last 5 years that I've been working with WrestleTalk full-time, there have been a lot of names that have either asked for their release or let their WWE contracts expire so they can leave. Jon Moxley, Brody Lee, FTR, Austin Aries, Ho-Ho Lun, Pac, Kenta, Shawn Spears, Tony Storm and Sin Cara are just a few of those names. It was always seen as a bad look for the company. The biggest wrestling promotion in the world and top names that fans like asked to leave. However, in the last 2 years, WWE took the unprecedented counterattack by releasing talent before they got a chance to ask for their release. Which is what makes Mustafa Ali's request all the more surprising. Clearly deciding that 2022 will be a new year, new me, Mustafa Ali has requested his release from WWE 16 days into the new year. Ali hasn't been on TV since October 29th, 2021, where he lost to Drew McIntyre in just 2 minutes. He hadn't won a match on TV since late August on Main Event, and you have to go back to July of 2021 to find a win he had on a TV show that people actually watch. But before we get into the ins and outs of Ali's request and why he's reportedly asked for it, I think we need to give some context. Ali was brought into WWE in 2016 as a replacement for the Cruiserweight Classic, where he was eliminated in the first round. He became a mainstay on 205 Live, where he and Cedric Alexander were described as the heart and soul of the division and had an incredible no DQ match against Buddy Murphy in 2018. He was moved to the SmackDown roster because, according to a WWE writer at the time, then champion Daniel Bryan was pushing hard backstage that all of the top babyfaces in WWE were 40 years old and he wanted a younger star to work with. Ali actually pinned Daniel Bryan, which was to set up a WWE Championship program, but suffered an injury ahead of Elimination Chamber, which inadvertently laid the groundwork for the fan-led Kofi Mania movement that saw Kingston win the title at that year's WrestleMania. According to Ali himself, he was planned to win the 2019 Money in the Bank, but was told as he was making his entrance for the match that plans had changed and Brock Lesnar, who wasn't even in the match, was now winning. Although cool vignette promos aired on SmackDown for Ali, nothing ever came of them. In early April 2020, teasers aired on SmackDown of a new hacker gimmick that many presumed would be the return of Mustafa Ali, who hadn't been on TV for about 4 months at that point. But that storyline was quietly dropped. Ali instead just returned to TV after 7 months and lost to Bobby Lashley. After bouncing around Raw with no direction, he was revealed as the leader of already dead in the water group Retribution and announced as the hacker after all. Despite Ali's best efforts to make the Retribution faction and storyline make sense via his Twitter and on Raw Talk, it never made it across on TV. In December 2020, Ali reportedly tore his PCL, which required surgery, but was, again reportedly, told that if he worked through that injury, there would be a big blow-off angle to the Retribution gimmick at WrestleMania. That never happened, and instead the group disbanded on the Fastlane kickoff show. He then moved into an Odd Couple tag team with Mansoor, which was a lot of fun, but was also on the same show as Odd Couple tag team RK Bro and Odd Couple tag team Super Brutality. The pair split up ahead of Crown Jewel, and that was all she wrote for Mustafa Ali. Now, one would assume that backstage frustrations over so many multiple change plans would have led to Ali asking for his release, but apparently there was a much bigger moment. Back in November last year, Ali posted on Twitter a promo video for what could have been his new America gimmick, but noted that reasons beyond his control meant that the character had been scrapped. WrestleMania singles and tag champ Sean Ross Sapp is now reporting over on Fightful Select that initially the character was accepted and they were moving forward with it, but those in power in WWE changed their minds. He expanded on his Backstage Report podcast that Vince McMahon wasn't on board with the new America gimmick and nixed it. Sapp also notes that WWE Creative were under the impression that Ali was off on paternity leave, and had been so since November. However, Ali only reportedly asked for 1 show off for paternity leave, and has been available to return since December. However, Ali hasn't been backstage at a WWE event at all since the week before Survivor Series, and it all ties back to that new America gimmick. Once McMahon had decided that Ali's new idea wasn't going ahead, he pitched creative that was, according to SRS, something Mustafa Ali would never have done. Uh-oh. Before we jump the gun though, SRS expanded on his Backstage Report podcast saying, "I don't know if it was controversial or just dog shit creative or just something he was uncomfortable with. I don't have that information. It was just something Ali would never have done and the two argued and it was real bad." This was reportedly a heated argument between the two, and Ali hasn't been seen around WWE since. Sapp adds, "You can draw what you want from that." Ali himself noted to Metro last October that Vince McMahon told him personally he was too polished, too clean, too nice, and that he didn't know if Ali had it in him to work as a top star in WWE. That just appears to be McMahon, however, as Sapp adds, one wrestler on the SmackDown roster said that for someone that works on his craft as much as Ali does, not having anything for him or featuring him at all was seen as a punishment. Ali was reportedly well liked backstage in WWE by his peers and was often seen pitching creative for his characters. The question comes now, do WWE actually grant his release? According to Fightful Select, a higher up in WWE has said that they have been granting release requests as of late, as it would be hard to justify the decision not to because of the amount of budget cut releases over the last 2 years. Ringside News added that we were told that WWE is willing to let anyone go who wants out unless someone asks to be released that Vince McMahon doesn't want to lose. At the time of this recording, Ali has not currently been granted his WWE release. WWE's Ricochet responded to Ali's Twitter post asking for his release, saying, "I love you, man," while AEW Santana simply added, "Respect." What do you think will be next for Mustafa Ali? Let me know in the comments down below. Likely it won't be the Royal Rumble, and according to Dave Meltzer, it won't be anyone from AEW either. Last week, the very reliable WrestleVote tweeted that WWE were trying out for an unexpected Forbidden Door entrant for the men's Rumble match, perhaps looking to capitalize off the brilliant buzz the announcement of Impact Knockouts champion Mickie James got. This led to a lot of fan speculation that it could be someone from All Elite Wrestling, particularly an ex-WWE name like Chris Jericho or even Jon Moxley. However, Meltzer notes in the Wrestling Observer Daily Update, there will be no AEW involvement in the Royal Rumble. Jon Moxley will not be at that show. No AEW return date has been announced for Moxley yet, but he will be at GCW show at the Hammerstein Ballroom next week defending his title against Homicide. And perhaps we now know why there is some bad blood, if you'll pardon the pun, between AEW and WWE. Thank you for your support on Patreon, Chris the Cypriot Sensation Petru, and he can last Sean for longer than you in the ring. Get your own bumper shout out on the WrestleTalk news over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Over the weekend, the Toronto Star posted an article titled, "Can Tony Khan's AEW beat Vince McMahon and WWE at its own game?" which, surprisingly, had a statement from WWE about the competition that they keep telling people is not competition. WWE's statement read, in reference to the Tay versus Penelope Ford and Bunny Street fight on Rampage a few weeks back, "If you look at the gory self-mutilation that bloodied several women in the December 31 event on TNT, it quickly becomes clear that these are very different businesses. We had an edgier product in the Attitude Era, and in the 2022 world, we don't believe that type of dangerous and brutal display is appealing to network partners, sponsors, venues, children, or the general public as a whole." It's an interesting choice of wording, especially when you consider that Vince McMahon once wrote a letter to Ted Turner in 1996 where he asked WCW to stop the act of self-mutilation on their TV show. It's also not the first time that McMahon or WWE has said this about AEW. On a 29 Investors call, Vince described All Elite Wrestling as a blood and guts promotion, which gave birth to the name of their version of War Games. It's also been reported and hinted that it was WWE that told Domino's Pizza about a commercial of theirs that aired during the Chris Jericho-Nick Gage main events last year, which led to them telling Front Office Sports that they were going to assess their advertising presence on AEW going forward. Voices of Wrestling tweeted that they can't confirm that WWE told Domino's directly, but WWE have been calling journalists in hopes that the story picks up steam, which was also backed up by David Bixenspan, who was shown a screenshot of an email sent to a journalist of a mainstream publication by WWE asking them to write an article about the incident. But remember, they're not competition. Wink. Sean Ross Sapp noted on Fightful Select's Q&A podcast last week that TNT and Warner Media are not concerned about the amount of blood on AEW's programming, as they have other shows with violence in them that airs on their networks with no complaints. It was also highlighted by many, including Potato Man Andrew Zarian, that WWE wanted to have blood in their SummerSlam main event of Brock Lesnar vs Randy Orton, but didn't want to upset sponsors. So instead, they had Lesnar cut open Orton hard way using the sharp end of his elbow, which also gave Orton a concussion. Which, you know, is a bit more dangerous than self-mutilation. 3 of the 4 women in that street fight have also shared their thoughts on Twitter, with the Bunny and Anna Jay sharing images of the match with emojis, and Ty Conte flipping the bird with the simple caption, ha 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 ha, kissing emoji.
Back when WWE did their twice-in-a-lifetime feud between John Cena and The Rock, which Ollie and I recently attempted to rebook on Parts Fun known at I1, of course, not that anyone's counting or anything, the fallout of the first match saw Cena enter a downward spiral as he got a little too cocky from the encounter, attempting a people's elbow during their WrestleMania 28 match, which allowed Rock to get the victory.